This girl was as fat as a pig. Her whole family called her a failed product of nature, convinced no man would ever desire her. That is until this guy showed up and said, "Swallow these pills, and you'll be beautiful again." Someone scoffed at, "What are you even talking about?" But the plus-size beauty declared her faith in the stranger. She explained she'd taken a pill once before, and that was how she had become so chubby. The rest of the party guests found the whole situation disgusting. But the man walked right up to her and said, "Here, eat these pills, you innocent little thing." The scene was so shocking, even a Amstone old shareholder would have been stunned. Should she trust this guy, especially when her own best friend was urging her to swallow them all? Seeing her hesitation, the man leaned in and whispered, "Do you plan on looking like a Jigglypuff for the rest of your life?" Remembering all the ridicule she endured daily, she summoned her courage and began to devour the pills, to the astonishment of everyone at the party. When nothing happened for a moment, another man started mocking her, calling her a hopeless case. Oh, but that's when a golden aura began to radiate from her eyes. The fat on her body started to redistribute like a real-time Brazilian butt lift, and her bust grew exponentially. Looking at herself in the mirror, she couldn't believe she now looked like a pop star. Everyone at the party was speechless, and now all those ugly high society members were begging to be next in line to take the pills. The guy with glasses who had jeered at her was now on his knees, pleading for forgiveness, only to be tossed to the floor like trash. It's crazy to think this wasn't even the main character's specialty, because when the school's top athlete challenged him to a 100-meter dash, everyone thought he would be crushed. The muscular jock even laughed, saying a piece of trash like him didn't even have the right to compete. And it seemed he was right, because the moment the starting gun fired, the jock took off like a bullet, while our hero just stood there, enduring the taunts. But then, when the time was right, he hit the gas and shot off like an arrow. The blonde-haired jock was in shock. The top athlete was left eating his dust as our protagonist crossed the finish line with ease. He even earned an extra 5 aura points by waiting for the other guy to get close to the finish line before speeding past him at the last second, completely shattering his self-esteem. But how could a new student so thoroughly humiliate the province's prodigy? Well, this guy once possessed the strongest aura on the Rudo continent. 500 years of cultivation, reaching the 11th realm by age 65, defeating the Demon King, and saving the entire continent. And then, his most trusted allies stabbed him in the back. And man, why is there always a woman involved in ruining this guy's life? I'd sympathize if he became a misogynist. But in that moment, it was just pure agony. He screamed that he would never forgive them. Then, he woke up in the body of Yamri Hurrit, a boy born into a prestigious clan but cast out because of his blocked energy meridians and useless body. He had no power in this new form, but he had 500 years of combat knowledge in his head, and a burning desire to make those women pay. Back after the race, a school bully ran into our hero and started picking a fight. Osaki, Haru, and Hokuba from the boxing and martial arts club showed up to cause trouble. He knew the body's original owner had been extorted by these bullies. They took his money under the guise of protecting him. Hokuba let Haru handle him, sensing something was different about Yamori. Osaki thought dealing with a weakling like him would be easy, a one-punch job. But things were different now, and Yamori effortlessly dodged the punch. He countered with a powerful uppercut to the bully's chin. From a cultivator's perspective, a high school boxing club captain was just another ordinary person. He followed up with a devastating kick right to the man's face. The boxing captain went flying backward, slamming onto the floor. The other bullies wondered if this was really Yamori. Our hero asked if they were scared of him. The scumbags didn't care and rushed him, but he grabbed both of them, and they screamed in pain, admitting they were wrong. They collapsed to the bathroom floor, crying and begging him to let them go. Meanwhile, the bully who got kicked started to get back up. He charged at our hero for another punch but was immediately struck and sent flying again. Yamori threatened him, saying next time, he wouldn't be so gentle. The remaining bullies on the floor, clutching their mangled hands, thought he was a monster. They pleaded that they were wrong and told him to stay away. But our hero had other plans. They didn't understand. Yamori told them they had taken things from him, and he wanted them back. The bullies immediately returned what they'd stolen. Our hero knew he'd gone too far, but these idiots wouldn't have the guts to tell anyone. The school was too crowded and annoying. He wanted to leave as soon as possible. Fortunately, he'd also managed to get some money from his enemies. With it, he planned to buy raw materials to create low-grade talismans. Talismans were items that we cultivators bought all the time, and even in his current useless state, he could make a few. Once he did, he knew he could sell them and save up a decent amount of money. Now he just needed to find a suitable place to cultivate and buy medicinal herbs. 3 weeks passed, and there was no sign of the talismans selling. People in this world viewed charms with a great deal of superstition. While jogging down the street, our level 1 cultivator found an injured dog. Its wound looked severe, and the small animal was collapsed on the ground in pain. Seeing it looked like it had been hit by a car, he took the opportunity to test his talisman's effect on the dog, which was suffering from organ failure and physical trauma. He activated the charm, and in an instant, the dog was back to full health, barking with excitement. A man told a young woman named Shizuru that it was just a dog and it didn't matter if it lived or died. The lady of the Shuga clan retorted that he only thought that because he was the one who hit it. Annoyed, the young lady was about to take the dog to a vet when she was shocked to see it in the boy's arms, completely healthy. She asked how it had fully recovered after being hit and if the young man had done something to it. Shizuru had seen the animal covered in what looked like ketchup and thought it was a lost cause. Seeing she was on her way to a hospital to visit someone, our hero found the perfect opportunity to show off his talisman, explaining he simply used a blue protection charm. However, the man was her, Wada, thought he was a con artist, and said he wouldn't be fooled. He was sure the kid had thrown the dog in their path to rob them. Even as he told the young lady not to believe a word of it, she asked if the talisman would work on people, wondering if it could heal someone in a vegetative state. Our hero understood she wanted to save someone in a coma. A vegetative state was caused by physical damage to the brain, perfect for his talismans, which used spiritual energy to restore the body. Weda refused to believe a piece of paper could heal her and told her not to touch the charm. Our hero explained to the woman that it was simple to use. Just hold it in front of the person you want to heal. He offered large ones for 400 yen and small ones for 200 yen. The young lady paid him 1 million yen and asked for everything he had. Weda told her not to buy them, thinking it was all insane. However, the cultivator grew annoyed and grabbed the man's arm as he tried to stop the sale. He told him to stay out of his business since the woman had already agreed to buy the charms, warning that if he was going to stand in the way, he'd better back off. After twisting and restraining Weda's arm, our hero tossed the fool aside and closed the deal with the woman from the Shuga clan. He threw in an extra yellow protection charm and a red fire charm, hoping the day she'd need those specific talismans would never come. Still, Shizuru thanked him for the gift and asked for his name. He introduced himself as Yamari Haruto as he walked away. Wada was convinced the guy was a scammer, but Shizuru thought that even if there was the slightest chance, she had to try. She wanted to wake her mother up. With money finally in hand, he went to find a house. His next step was to find medicinal herbs to use his cultivation abilities. Suddenly, the dog found something strange and started barking to alert its master. Our hero noticed a mansion with a great deal of spiritual energy surrounding it, then spotted something peculiar growing in its garden, a silver, heart-shaped grass. At the infirmary, one of the guys our hero beat up told the nurse he was a demon. While receiving medical treatment, he swore he would make Yamari pay next time. Elsewhere, Shuga Kanji, a city councilman, was berating Shizuru for her actions. He complained she had embarrassed the family and that believing the nonsense of a con artist would make her a laughingstock. Nurses whispered about the young lady who spent a fortune on talismans, mocking her. Shizuru clutched the charm sadly, saying she wanted to try one more time. This was her last-ditch effort to save her mother, and she would do whatever it took. The councilman said she'd lost her mind and needed to stop these crazy attempts. Seeing her believe in mystical things, he figured her next step would be praying to the gods. In response, she asked what he was doing to help. She demanded to know how many times he had even visited her mother while she was unconscious. She blamed her father, saying he hadn't done everything he could, and that if he abandoned her mother like this, he would just find another woman and leave her. Her father flew into a rage and threatened to slap her, but held back. He said his daughter was getting more and more insolent. He declared he would call the nurse and have them pull the tubes from her. Crying, his daughter said he couldn't do that. Clutching the talisman, she wept, vowing to never give up on her mother. Suddenly, the talisman activated, and a blue light began to emanate from it. Her mother awoke, placed a hand on her daughter's face, and called out Shizuru. The mother, now conscious, asked if her daughter had lost weight. Her father was in complete shock and ran out, screaming for a doctor. He called for everyone. His wife had woken from her coma. Stunned, the doctors asked if it was true and rushed his wife in for tests. The doctor announced that after a year and a half in a coma, she could return to a normal life. Shuga Kenji was certain it had to be the blue talisman. He was sure it had worked, but the doctors thought it was impossible and refused to believe it. Her father thought it was a miracle, and the doctor told them to call Professor Suzuki. He wondered if the man who sold the talisman was some kind of celestial being. Yoko Shizuru's mother hugged Shizuru, apologizing for making her suffer. But her daughter was just overjoyed that she was awake. Convinced that God existed, she wanted to find the man again to thank him. Meanwhile, our hero had completed the first step to returning to the Ryu continent, finishing the move into his new house. He would never forgive those who betrayed him in his past life. First, he needed to reach the 11th level of cultivation and find sources of spiritual energy and materials. He knew the day of his revenge was coming, and they would soon pay the price. At this rate, his energy would run out because, in this world, spiritual energy was weak. To overcome that, he needed to find an item overflowing with it. He figured only a spirit spring, or rare artifacts would suffice. But the thought of the silver heart grass growing in that garden excited him. After all, silver heart grass was a great spiritual material. Unlike common herbs, spiritual materials were used to concoct pills that elevated a cultivator's realm. If you concocted a Zuki pill with the silver heart fruit, you could reach the second realm. But if he was careless, it would be a headache. The materials for one Zuki pill cost a fortune. He thought he was selling his talismans quietly, but it seemed he had already stirred up trouble. Some guys had been following him since the third day he started his business. Our hero wanted to see what these lowlifes would do when they got closer. Suddenly, a girl appeared and recognized him at the worst possible moment. She noticed Yamari hadn't been to school, and asked what he was doing there. She remembered he had been kicked out of his clan for his weak body, and didn't even have time to study. Our hero knew she was the only classmate who had stood up for the body's previous owner. She offered him money so he could go back to school with her. Yamari refused the money, and apologized, saying he had something to deal with right now. The girl assumed he must be in some kind of trouble. Meanwhile, our hero noticed 7 enemies to his left, and 3 to his right. He knew he could take them all down in an instant. He started running, and the men with knives gave chase, following him into an alley he had led them to. When they arrived, they saw there was no escape, and tried to intimidate him. Yamari told them to come at him all at once. The 5 menacing-looking men, all armed, stopped in front of him. A bald man squared up and said, "This is gonna be fun." Our cultivator asked why they had been following him for days. The men said he had some nerve selling items like his, as if he hadn't made a ton of enemies. They demanded to know why the young lady of the Amatini clan was interested in a guy like him. That woman was almost his fiancée, and he thought it was excessive to kill him just because the marriage fell through, so he was going to force the answer out of them. The girl saw the Yakuza members trying to take down Yamari and was horrified. She thought he couldn't possibly beat armed gangsters with his frail body. She decided to call the police to save his life. A Yakuza member called her a stray cat and asked what she was doing on her phone. He snatched the phone from her hand with a crazed look. The gangsters called him Big Brother and were thrilled he had shown up. Our hero saw the leader brutally grabbing Mokiyama by her hair. The leader called him quite the conqueror, first Setsu Amatani and now this little girl. She screamed for Yamari to run, warning him they were all armed. She also said they couldn't touch her, because she was the daughter of the Kyomoki clan. However, the bald gang leader scoffed at the Monjima clan. He then said if they buried her there, no one would ever know where she went. The girl was terrified, and the psycho said if she wanted to blame someone, it should be her own foolishness. Just as he tried to stab her, our hero reacted, rushing him. He snatched the knife from his hand and pinned him against the wall. Mokiyama wondered if that was really Yamari. He was completely different. Our hero threatened them, saying he would only ask once who sent them. Elsewhere, they informed Inspector Ka that the Scarface gang was active in the alleys on East Street with a kid involved and a woman taken hostage. The inspector floored it, full of adrenaline, and called for backup without notifying Director Onaga. He told them not to act rashly, as they were human traffickers, and wouldn't hesitate to kill. Hearing no response, he urged the person on the radio to confirm he'd heard him, but his colleagues said, horrified, that they wouldn't need backup anymore. He pointed out that the kid he mentioned earlier had taken down the entire Scarface gang himself. The bald leader asked if he was really the trash of the Yaya clan and said his gang wouldn't be beaten so easily. Our hero asked if the Amatani clan or the Yamari clan provided the information, threatening him with a 3-second countdown to answer. Bleeding, the bald man begged for more time. Our hero wasn't going to yield, but the police appeared and ordered him to get on his knees. Inspector Ka told him not to finish the man off, or he'd lower himself to his level. Our hero then wondered if the police showing up was just a coincidence. He could have easily escaped the situation, but he didn't want to reveal his true power. That's why he decided to let the bald guy go. The gang leader was in shock that he was still alive. With his current strength, he couldn't take on the government and had to yield to police pressure. Ta found it hard to believe this kid had single-handedly taken down a gang, wiping out all the gangster traffickers in one go, all by himself. Ta Haruki introduced himself to Yamori as an inspector from the Numi City Police. Mukayama greeted him as well, and the inspector said he would clean up the mess, and they didn't need to worry. Rai Karafumiya, a police officer, also introduced herself to the two of them. Our hero was worried about the government watching. After all, they had seen everything and appeared very quickly. They would need his statement, and would only focus on what happened in the incident. The police director showed up and said they would have let the perpetrator go if he hadn't arrived in time. Onaga accused the student, Yamori, of assault, and placed him under arrest, showing him a warrant. Mukayama was furious. After all, the guys on the ground had attacked them first. Onaga said all he saw was the kid beating them up for no reason. Ta thought what Onaga was doing was ridiculous, pointing out that everyone knew those men were drug traffickers. When the inspector called them scum, it seemed to anger Director Onaga. He threatened to take his badge for challenging his boss. Ta called him a bastard, and the bald police officer told him to calm down so he wouldn't lose his job. Suddenly, Yamori spoke up, telling them to take him away. He knew some big shot in the government was pulling strings to frame him. This kind of thing would keep happening, and he decided to use it to gather information. He asked Onaga how he knew the kid was a student. When confronted, the officer got flustered, realizing his slip-up. After giving the lame excuse, our hero asked if his boss wanted him to keep an eye on him. Onaga pretended not to know what he was talking about, and told him to get in the police car. Grabbing a button from the director's coat, he said it was a shame. The man was shocked. He hadn't seen him take his button. Our hero said that the next time they met, he'd take more than just a button. Onaga wanted to make him regret it, and was furious with the student. Some time passed, and inside the prison, a police officer banged his baton on a prisoner's bars. The officer said the target would be there soon, and the order was to eliminate him. The sinister prisoner closed his book and said he understood his mission. Our hero arrived at the prison escorted by guards, and began checking the place out. As the bars closed, he sensed they were planning to attack him. He found it interesting and wondered if his cellmate was the mastermind. For a long time, the man had a personal rule: he didn't want to beat up a weak kid like him. But this time he was hired, so there was nothing he could do. Our hero asked if he was another pawn. Yamori felt a burning sensation the moment he entered the place. He might be weak right now, but he could feel exactly what was emanating from Fakey. He saw a very strong flow of spiritual energy around the guy. Like a madman, the enemy said he would send our hero to another world in seconds. He rushed at him, his fists wrapped in spiritual energy. But as he attacked, our hero vanished. He appeared right in front of him and punched Fakey in the face. He said he was confused, because the only weak person in this cell was him. As he said that, Yamori slammed his body to the floor, but he was surprised when the villain grabbed his leg, and got up, throwing him across the cell. However, our hero braced himself against the wall and was unharmed. Fakey had underestimated him and was going to make him suffer. But seconds later, he was just met with another punch to the face. As he looked up, he saw death, and tried to defend himself. Still, he took a brutal kick that sent him flying to the other side of the cell. Our hero stood firm, while his enemy was badly injured. Fakey charged at him, swinging a massive punch and telling him not to get cocky, but he ate another one right in the gut, feeling immense pain and flying backward again. He couldn't stop wondering why this was happening, as Yamori walked closer, radiating a huge amount of spiritual energy. He landed another punch on his foe, hitting him in the face and smashing his head into the floor. Pinning his face to the ground, he asked who sent him. He also asked where and how he had gotten that spiritual energy. Oniago was on the phone, asking what kind of monster the student he just arrested was. The person on the other end thought he was just a failure from the Yamori clan, not some monster. The director wouldn't call him a failure. After all, he had handled his enemy without much trouble. Meanwhile, our hero awaited an answer from Fake, who was on the ground, beaten to a pulp. He figured Yamori was on a completely different level from ordinary people like himself. Our hero wondered if the people he was talking about were the cultivators of this world. A few years ago, Fakey had met an old monk in Ryuja who infused his spiritual energy into one hand and chopped down a giant tree like it was nothing. That monk gave him a bottle of divine water. As the years passed, he continued to drink the diluted divine water just as the monk had instructed. Gradually, his body transformed into something beyond normal. This divine water, our hero realized, was spirit fluid extracted from spirit springs. Spirit springs only existed in places with extremely high concentrations of spiritual energy. Our hero asked if Feki had surpassed the limits of a normal human and why he was taking orders from them. The villain explained it was because his son had alls. However, the divine water had no healing effect on his son. That's why he wanted to earn money. When our hero heard about alls, he knew he could cure it. Feki was stunned, and our hero explained that giving spirit fluid to a normal person risked harming them, but he could do it using a talisman. Feki was amazed and didn't think something so good could be true. To prove it, our hero used a talisman on the man, and all his wounds healed instantly. The reincarnated boy would give the man a chance. He demanded he reveal the true identity of the person behind all this, and his son would be cured. If he refused, he would be eliminated by our hero right now. Feki confirmed his theory that Yamari was no ordinary guy. He said the person who contacted him to take him down was Hashimoto Kozo. Someone on the phone said Anga was scared of a small fry from the Yamari clan. That person was Hashimoto Kozo, the owner of the Kozan Club, and he was about to continue his unfinished business with the person in front of him. He asked the woman which cut of meat she wanted, and if she wanted something to drink. Before him was a woman, chained and gagged, desperate and crying. Kozo stood up and said she was a bad girl who didn't even know basic manners. He ripped the tape from her mouth, causing her pain, and wondered which tooth he would pull next to teach her another lesson. After saying that, he pulled one of her teeth out with pliers, causing the woman extreme agony. His butler warned him that Lord Suma had contacted them about Haruka Yamari's situation. Kozo said he'd already assigned that job to a thug from Ryuja and that he would personally visit the police station later. Anyway, he knew the man was destined to become a corpse. Meanwhile, in the cell, Feki handed over a pendant in exchange for Haruto's talisman. He saw that in the middle of the cross-shaped pendant, there was concentrated spirit fluid. He knew that if he used that spirit fluid on the silver heart grass, it would bear fruit immediately. Taking the pendant, our hero thanked Feki for the gift. He warned that from now on, Hashimoto would be after him, and no one that guy targeted ever ended up well. Haruto told him not to worry, as long as he kept their deal. As for Hashimoto, our hero said he'd be sure to send his regards. At New Inn University, a classy woman stepped out of an expensive car. The woman who had bought the talismans couldn't believe the boy was the reject from the Yamari clan until she saw the photo with her own eyes and was sure it was him. And the boy was also her freshman student. Saki talked to the university's headmaster about what happened to our hero, but he didn't want to get involved. The girl, however, was determined to get him out of there. Shizuru walked into the room just then and saw they were talking about Haruto Yamari. Meanwhile, in Director Onaga's office, the police officer was furious with him. After all, this man was letting a gangster out of prison after chasing him for years. Ka accused his boss of abusing his power. His boss said he had no proof, and accusing a superior without evidence was a serious offense. Ka said he knew what his boss was planning behind his back, threatening the young officer. The director ordered him to say what he knew. However, the officer got scared and ended up saying nothing. Just then, Shizuru and Saki arrived at the office, even as a police officer tried to stop them. The director was angry at the guard for not stopping them. He wondered who they were since Haruto didn't seem to have any real backing. He said the girl's friend was suspected of theft and assault and couldn't be released until trial. Hess said that was ridiculous since he wasn't suspected of any of that. The director said he couldn't disclose information because he was the director. Saki asked why the Yakuza members weren't there. Onaga said he didn't have to explain anything to them, and he could have them arrested for obstruction of justice. Shizuru told him to try it, and sat down, while she waited. The corrupt man ordered the police to put these people in a holding cell, and told them to shut up. They would be detained on suspicion of being accomplices of Yamari Haruto, and Ka was suspended for covering for criminals and would be interrogated. Shizuru asked if Director Oi would stay silent if he just kept randomly making up charges. Onega threatened her for insulting a national public figure, which made her crime even more serious. Shizuru said they were creating coincidences for Director Onega. The director got flustered because she was making things difficult. She said Yamari Haruto's problem could be solved with money. Onega said it was normal for influential people to have privileges, and she was no exception. He brought up the time she was attacked by Kaya and fought back fiercely. In a threatening, manipulative tone, he said it wouldn't be a problem if he declared everyone there had lost their lives. Shizuru asked if Director Oi heard that, and on the phone, he said yes because she had called him mid-conversation. The director was terrified when he realized their entire conversation had been heard by Oi. His boss said that for abuse of power and threatening a councilman's family, Onega Riza would be suspended. When she asked if she should reintroduce herself, Onega realized Shizuru was from the councilman's family. Meanwhile, in prison, our hero held the pendant with the spirit fluid. Seeing how little was left, he knew he would only be able to use it once. He noticed someone had come to the cell and was on guard. Realizing it was Shizuru, he was happy to see Hiroto again. Elsewhere, the rich guy was smashing things, saying everyone was useless. One person was on the verge of death, and the other was rotting in a cell, so they were useless. If the Ama clan's directive wasn't carried out, his own head would be on the chopping block. The bodyguard asked Lord Akimasa what he would do now. To prove his loyalty to the Ama clan, he told him to bring the boy back alive and said he would wear his best outfit. He decided he would eliminate this piece of trash himself. Our hero had spent all his money on materials and was completely broke. So, he used his materials to concoct the spirit condensing pill. He took the pill. It was a crude method that made the spiritual energy condensed and impure, but it would be useful in this world. With that, he finally reached the second level of spiritual cultivation. Over the years, he had used the cloud shadow method to evolve. At his current speed, not even bullets could hit him. He had used up all the spirit fluid he had to get further in the future. He would need more mana-rich materials. According to Fakey, there were sources of spiritual energy in Ryuta. But taking a normal path would be dangerous, and he would talk to the influential local contact Fakey had given him. The cost was 2 million yen, and in his current account, he had a ridiculous amount of money. On it, he saw a commercial for a miraculous syringe that made you look younger. It had become popular, and each dose cost a lot of money. Our hero realized the women in this world were obsessed with youth and saw an opportunity to make money from it. 5 hours earlier, he was having dinner with Shizuru and couldn't believe she was the daughter of Councilman Shuga. That was why she had a direct line to the director. Shuga said he had a favor to ask of our hero. That's why he invited him to dinner. He asked if he was familiar with the Sugo building. Our hero knew it was home to the largest cosmetics headquarters in Numi City. Shizuru said her family owned the entire place. The next night, she would be hosting a gala event to celebrate her mother's recovery, and she invited Hiroto to attend. Back in the present, at the Shuga building, the gala began on the top floor. Our hero knew that in his current state, he couldn't craft spiritual elixirs, only beauty elixirs. So, he would make a good amount of money by making this low-grade cosmetic. The opportunity was right in front of him as he saw the rich women at the party. Shizuru's uncles said a woman in her 30s was no longer young and should settle down, saying if she didn't get married soon, she'd end up like her older sister, Belosami. The uncle told Masami that because she was selfish when she was young, she couldn't contribute to the clan now that she was old. He also said she was unlucky, and she had nothing to say in return. Shizuru and her mother told the man to shut up. After all, Masami was the one who raised him after their grandmother left. Shuru said he was only saying it for everyone's benefit, and they needed to find Shizuru a husband as soon as possible. He suggested she marry someone from the Yu clan to avoid friction with them. Masami said she had her reasons for not accepting that, but the annoying man called her selfish and said she would never regain the beauty she had in her youth. Just then, Yamri appeared and said he could do just that. He said Shuru was being disrespectful by calling her expired goods. Shuru got angry with Hiroto and asked who he was. He started calling for security until Shizuru intervened, saying she had invited him because he saved her mother. Her mother thanked him directly for selling her the life-saving talisman. Our hero was kind and told her she didn't need to thank him. Shuru thought they had been fooled by some scam, and that she woke up thanks to modern medicine. Hiroto finally introduced himself as a researcher focusing on time and value. He was also a business partner of President Shuga. Everyone thought it was absurd that he was her partner, and in this context, since they were talking about youth through products. So, he decided to show the answer inside the box he was holding. Chihiru's aunt thought it was hilarious, and wanted to see what tricks he would pull. He approached Masami, asking for her hand. Then, he asked her to take the product inside the box. Shizuru started screaming, accusing him of putting poison in that suspicious pill. The woman asked if it was safe to take. Shizuru said he was trustworthy, and decided to take the pill herself. Her mother decided to join in, since the man had saved her life. The businessman said there was no such thing as an elixir of eternal youth in real life. Our hero whispered in Masami's ear, asking if she wanted to feel young again. She cried. After all the men called her old and insulted her for her age. Determined, she took the pill with confidence and swallowed it. The Shiga clan uncles couldn't believe she actually did it. Seeing nothing happen, they thought it was poison or just a scam. Shuru pointed to Mug. saying he knew it was a scam, until suddenly, Mesami's hair and skin began to change, completely transforming into a younger version of herself. It left all the partners and family members in complete shock. The rich older women demanded he name his price and offered him insane amounts of money. They started offering more and more as if it were an auction. The family knew, if they got the rights, they would dominate the cosmetics industry again. The Kosen Group offered $4 million for the product rights. Then, the Rinko Group offered $20 million. Shuru said he was Shizuru's guest, and this was not an auction. After telling everyone to calm down, he went to talk business with Hurt. Shuru offered $30 million, and a 70-30 split on revenue, but he really wanted 70 of the revenue, leaving our hero with 30. He said the Hoshizu clan's connections would help him a lot. However, Shizuru said the Hoshizu clan no longer had any connections. Shuru got angry, because they were family and she should watch her mouth. He said she didn't care about family when she lost 160 million of their grandmother's money. Withdrawing from the Hu clan, the bank asked for a letter and asked if they should be listed. Shizuru's mother asked if he was destroying her mother's company. Toa asked how they knew. The girl knew he came to the event to drain her mother's funds, just as he did with their grandmother. She said she wouldn't give a single cent to her crazy uncle when he was the one plotting to profit. Without capital, he didn't even have that 30 million. When she accused him of trying to scam her mother, Shuru said it wasn't true. He got on his knees, begging, and playing the worst kind of brother card. Annoyed, she said he disappointed her and that she had helped his company because he said he had changed. Kneeling and humiliating himself, he said she always helped him and covered for him. But she said she couldn't ignore his selfishness. After all, he had destroyed their mother's legacy. She got up from her chair and told him to clean up his own mess. Shuru asked if she was cutting him out of the company's business. Shizuru gave him the choice to face the court and pay for what he'd done for the rest of his life or sell his company to her for 1 yen. Shuga told Yamari there were real experts at this party who could do business. He said he would introduce them to our hero. 40 million was reasonable for him, and he should keep 80, and he needed to be careful, because everyone there was a vulture. Kuroda trusted her to handle the business side. After the lavish event, she got in her car, and they went to his place. She noticed the place was huge, and he humbly said it was rented. He thanked her for the ride because it saved him a long walk. Just then, the woman said they were friends and he didn't need to thank her. When he was surprised she called him a friend, Shizuru confirmed it with a friendly smile. On his way home, our hero thought and realized this new life wasn't so bad, but when he opened his front door, he saw a pool of ketchup and his dog looking like it had been beaten. The moment he arrived, the goon Hashimoto Kozo sent called him and warned that he was coming with a woman. Kozo thought it was perfect and ordered them to capture the woman. He figured if he tasted despair, Lord Sumo would be pleased. He hoped he liked the gift they had left. Our hero rushed to the little dog and pulled out the knife. He threw his healing talisman and noticed it was still breathing, and he would be able to save it with this iron. However, right above him, a man was hanging from the ceiling with a knife in his mouth. He tried to attack, but our hero dodged and countered, leaving the remaining goons shocked while he told his dog to hide. Then, he looked at the remaining goons and asked if they wanted to be taken down one by one. They all rushed him at once, but our John Wick took down the first one. Another tried to attack, but missed. He ended up with a broken arm and then became a memory. The goons changed their plan and pulled out guns to shoot at him, but right now, not even bullets could touch our hero. Meanwhile, the psycho blonde guy started getting his tools for some dirty work. He approached Shizuru, who was crying in fear. The psycho asked if she was really Shizuru Shuga, the daughter of Kenji Shuga. Suddenly, he got a call on his phone and was informed that all his men had been defeated. He was stunned to learn they couldn't beat Haruto. When he heard Yamari's voice, he said he really knew how to surprise people. The blonde guy warned our hero that he had kidnapped the Shuga clan's daughter. Our hero said he was on his way and told him not to do anything to her and not to drag innocent people into this. On the phone, Kozo cursed our hero for ruining his plan and said he had 40 minutes. Yamari crushed the phone in his hand, furious, and promised to find Hashimoto. Kozo was about to film a trailer for this video. He ripped the tape from her mouth, and his guard started banging on the door. Annoyed, he asked what was so urgent, and his guard said the fire suppression system had been activated in the warehouse. Kozo had told them to remove the warehouse alarm in case the police showed up. Just then, the woman closed her eyes, because she was exhausted until suddenly, the guards went flying from an impact. With no strength left, the woman started calling Haruto Yamari's name, assuming it was him. 1 hour ago, Feki was in the middle of the night delivering a letter of introduction to Ryuja. He got no answer on the phone and stopped his motorcycle at the right address. Feki wondered if he was in front of Yamori's house. Then, they told Hashimoto that Yamori was home, and Feki overheard it. He followed them and saw the goons planning to take down our hero. They also captured the woman in the meantime, and put her in a car. Feki had seen what Kozo did, kidnapping Haruto's woman and trying to kill him, sending assassins to his house. He started following the car that took Shuga and sent the coordinates to our hero. Meanwhile, he interrogated one of the assassins in his house, and made him spill everything. Haruto asked Feki for a favor, asking him to get his friend out of there, but he wanted to take down the blonde guy himself. Kozo was angry with his guards because he had asked them to cut the warehouse's fire alarm. He said he would check what was going on, and told them to be on alert, while Feki had already infiltrated the place. His guards were complaining about the whole situation of kidnapping the girl, and his demands, until they noticed the arrival of a big guy, radiating spiritual energy. They asked who he was, and what he was doing there. With a scary face, he told them to be patient, and attacked them with his immense strength. He threw the guards away, and finished them with his fists. He arrived at the room where Shuga was, and with her thinking it was Haruto, Feki knew Yamori owed him one, and the man took the woman out of the place, getting out of there as fast as he could with the woman on his shoulder before they realized what he was doing. The car was in the garden behind the door in front of him, and he knew they would soon check the security system until suddenly he was shot in the leg and fell to the ground, dropping the woman. Kozo said his shooting accuracy hadn't diminished at all, and that shot was great. Feki wondered why they came back so fast, and how he got caught like this. Hashimoto said the guy had some nerve showing up like that at his mansion. The big guy and Kozo hadn't seen each other in a long time, and they reminisced about it. Kozo thought today was great because everyone came there to be punished by him, which made him shiver with excitement at the situation. Feki thought he was mistaken, and he wouldn't be saying that after he took him down. Meanwhile, outside, our hero arrived and the guards noticed his presence. He appeared in an epic way, radiating a red aura of anger. The guards asked if they could help him, and our hero hit them without a word. He smashed one guy in the face and he went flying, destroying the front gate. The next guy rushed him. The same thing happened, and he won with a single blow. Then, he started taking them all down at the same time without much difficulty. At the same time, Feki was having a hard time facing all the guards and started getting injured. He thought he shouldn't have taken this job and he couldn't even save one girl. Kozo said that after he killed the man, he would send his children and wife to the other side to keep him company. But first, the psycho intended to tear them apart piece by piece. Just then, the front door was blown open by an explosion, and Hashimoto stopped talking. He wondered who did that, and a figure appeared from the smoke. Our hero said the Grim Reaper had sent him to take Kozo to hell. Feki said the kid was pretty late and handed his partner a healing talisman, saying it would work just like last time. The guards and Hashimoto started shooting, and our hero started running, dodging the bullets, because bullets were useless against a stage 2 cultivator. Kozo was shocked by his speed, and soon, 2 more men were down. Seeing this, the blonde guy got scared and started running for the back door. Hashimoto didn't expect that and also wanted to run, because he moved like a member of a martial arts sect. Desperate, he started pressing the elevator button to make it come fast, so he could escape. The elevator didn't arrive, and one of his guards was thrown into the door, shocking the blonde guy, who told Haruto to calm down, implying that the one who wanted him eliminated was Lord Aima, and Kozo was protected by him. Our hero had never heard of him, and said the blonde guy would wish he'd never been born for the level of suffering he was about to endure. Scared, Hashimoto blurted out that Elder Joe wanted him dead for getting involved with the daughter of the Imatani clan. Our hero who searched his memories, but he had no memories with Setsu Imatani, so he thought it might be a setup. Kozo said only the Imatani clan could have set all this up and tried to convince Haruto to let him go, saying the Imatani clan was powerful and experienced. Kozo said if he let him go, he would speak well of him, and he would realize its value later. Haruto thought he was worthless and landed a brutal punch to his face, smashing him to the ground and then dragging him from the massive impact, breaking the door of the place. Our hero found the women he had kidnapped, picked up a knife, and walked toward them, but he freed them all from their ropes, saying they would explain his value to him. He threw the knife on the floor in front of them and said the women could decide what they would do with him. Hashimoto, injured, tried to say he had value and money to help our hero, but Yamori didn't care, and the women picked up the knife and went after him, saying they didn't want his money, and the only payment they wanted was to see him dead. Afterward, the reincarnated boy healed Shuga with his blue talisman. Our hero told Vicky to leave. After all, he had called the police, and they were on their way. He said he would be back as soon as he handed her over to the police and made sure she was safe. Vicky knew he had information she needed, and wanted to know his next move. Our hero said he would investigate the Emma clan and destroy them. Our hero had defeated Hashimoto, but Suma was still out there. So, he started training hard, and he would find his location as soon as possible and take him down. Suddenly, someone rang the doorbell, and he wondered who it was at this hour. He received an invitation from President Suga with a message saying they would leave as soon as his preparations were complete. He didn't understand what she meant by leave. He called her, saying he had received the invitation, and asked what the suit was for. She told him to look inside the invitation, and it showed it would be a party hosted by the Hashizu family. Our hero was surprised to be invited to a Hashizu party. Shizuru said selling the Chirin pill would bring them closer to the family and they would dominate the pharmaceutical market in Numi City. On top of that, it seemed his ex-fiancée would be at the event. He realized it was Setsu, the lady of the Itani clan. So, he put on the suit and went to the Hashizu family's party. He noticed Mur, Hirus and Akitaro, who were from the Kenta group, big shots in the city's business world. Our hero wondered if they also wanted to get close to Hashizu tonight. Although he was born into a prestigious family, he didn't know how big they were. Everyone at this party was desperate to make business connections. Just then, the head of the Hashizu family arrived, Anna Tanisatsu. Our reincarnated boy noticed spiritual energy around her. He wondered if she was the original owner of the body of Hiruta's ex-fiancée. Hashizu Nana, the head of the family, was next to Satsumu, and our hero suspected she was also reincarnated. He wondered if she was a cultivator, and if she had unique cultivation methods in this world. He figured she must be very confident. After all, she wasn't hiding her spiritual energy. If it was her, she must know about, and he would ask later. Shizuru went to talk to her aunt and complimented her appearance, saying she looked great. Nana asked how her mother was. After all, she heard she had woken up from a coma and seemed to be doing well. Shizuru thanked her for her concern, and Seiga said she was recovering gradually. She said she had bought the Chuan pill for her mother, and showed them the latest sample in her hand. She advertised that it kept you beautiful forever, and Nana had heard rumors about the pill. Everyone found out it was the last pill available and its price was insane. Nana noticed the good quality and that's why it was called the pinnacle of spiritual elixirs, and it wasn't sold anywhere else. She asked who concocted the pill, and Haruto introduced his friend and partner. When Satsu heard the name Haruto Yamori, she was shocked. Nana was surprised, because she knew him when he was a child, and now he had grown so much and become a man. She said the Yamori clan had no eye for talent. After all, the boy had concocted the pill at such a young age. Setsu frowned, and said his skills wouldn't be useful to this family because with their status, what they wanted were cultivation techniques, just as our hero had predicted. A prestigious family that had mastered mana cultivation methods, even if they were terrible compared to his world. Nana asked who his master was, which made our hero remember a red-haired woman, but he said it was just a hobby, and he didn't have a master. And when he was about to say more, he was interrupted by a man who came to talk to his Aunt Nana. No one knew who he was, but they explained he was a partner of the Suma clan and had been at Kshu's party last year. Nana was happy he came, and called this man Joe. Our hero was on guard because he remembered what his enemy had said. The guy said Setsu would be angry with him if he did anything wrong on Nana's birthday. Nana introduced the lady of the Suga clan to Shizuru. After he asked who she was, Suma Joe was captivated by her beauty, and said it was a pleasure to meet her. Then, he commented that he had heard good things about our hero and asked who he was. He didn't notice he was faking it, and wondered how long he was going to keep up the act. According to Hashimoto, Suma Joe was supposed to be a cultivator, but when he tried to scan him for spiritual energy, he realized the guy was empty. After shaking hands, Joe said it was a pleasure to meet Yamori. Then, he greeted Setsu, and our hero still found him strange because while they talked, he couldn't feel any fluctuations and thought he wasn't a cultivator. Even when he heard his name, he didn't feel any killing intent from Suma. Dinner took place, and everyone dressed elegantly ate at the same table. A dapper gentleman told everyone to gather in the hall for a dance after the meal. The couples began to slow dance, and our hero in the bathroom was still thinking about how Joe wasn't a cultivator. He wondered if he had been deceived and what reason the blonde guy would have for doing that to him. A random man came and asked Shizuru to dance, but she refused. Someone told him Shizuru was the lady of the Suga clan and wouldn't dance with him. Everyone who asked her was rejected. Even the hero from the Kategari clan was rejected by her. Just as the man was talking about what kind of man she would accept, he was surprised. His friend pointed to the scene that shocked everyone at the ball. Shizuru asked Haruto Yamori to dance with her. Meanwhile, Joe left the party and got into his limousine. He told his guards not to let anyone near. They obeyed, and Suma drove off. The guards wondered what Joe and someone else were doing in private. They had heard that Joe's guards would eventually lose their heads and not even recognize their families afterward. They had heard the guards were changed daily, and the last one suddenly disappeared. Suma was slapped and scolded for holding another woman's hand right in front of Setsu. The man apologized, but a man with gold rings released spiritual energy and said he would only keep him alive because he thought he was still a little useful. But if he couldn't handle a simple task he was about to ask, he would soon be eliminated. This was the real Suma Joe, the descendant of the clan, not the impostor who came to the party. The real Lord Joe got out of the car and told 2 guards to follow him to the hall. The guards noticed the rumors were true, and only one person got out of the car with Suma. They wondered what happened in the limousine, and we see the fake Joe tied up and completely subdued in the back seat. Back at the party, the real Joe apologized to Setsu for an urgent matter he had to deal with. He noticed Chizuru Shika dancing with a man and couldn't believe it. After all, he had never seen the man she was dancing with. The two danced to the Pino melody and looked as if they were looking at each other in love until our hero pulled her closer to his body and she said he danced very well. She said if they wanted to sell the Julian pill to the Hoshizu clan, he needed to fit the party's atmosphere. The body's original owner had learned to dance, and thanks to the second stage of cultivation, his balance was perfect. Nana asked if Setsu knew about the boy's crazy dancing skills, and she said that even if he was a good dancer, he was still just a commoner. Nana noticed the girl had been watching everything very closely. Suma told Nana he had just met Haruto, and she didn't expect that. Even with the power of the Ama clan, Nana asked if he couldn't investigate the past of a rebellious child. Suma said they didn't want to cause trouble in Nami City because it was Hoshizu clan territory. Nana thought the means didn't matter. After all, Haruto's talent for concocting pills was extraordinary. She just wanted to tie his potential to the future of the clan. She didn't want to let him run wild in the world anymore. Suma thought Nana was threatening him, and if Setsu wasn't there, he would have eliminated her long ago, and he thought about what to do with the trash Haruto Yamori. The guests started talking about our hero, which bothered his ex-wife, who said she was leaving. Just then, she approached Yamori and said she knew exactly what he was thinking. And as if she were the last cookie in the jar, she blurted out that it was useless to approach her. Our hero wondered what the blue-haired girl was talking about. Annoyed, the girl thought concocting pills wouldn't make him rich and would only be enough to cover living expenses. Our hero took a sip of his drink and didn't answer while she told him to focus on himself and not on her. Haruto retorted harshly, asking who she was talking about in that little speech. She said the spiritual energy she was radiating wasn't intentional. It was because she didn't know how to control it. The girl was shocked and asked how he knew that. He warned her that forced cultivation could speed up absorption, but it would destroy her body. She asked how a mortal could know that, and our hero said he could solve her problem. The girl didn't seem willing to believe his baseless accusation. Haruto told her to believe whatever she wanted, and he didn't care if she refused and lost her body. After all, the girl was running out of time, and he wanted to help. She could consider it a business deal, and he had a request for her. There was something he wanted to ask Joe. As he whispered what he wanted in her ear, the jealous man watched from a distance, curious. At the end of the party, all the couples left, heading for their cars. Nana caught up with the two as they were leaving together. She was interested in the Zuiwan pill and asked them to spare a moment to talk. Noticing she came to talk directly, he assumed she wanted more than just the pill. She said our hero and Suga had a lot in common because after her parents died, her uncle started dictating her entire life. Fortunately, she was recognized as a cultivator and loosened the chains that were holding her back. Now, our hero understood why the girl's body was basically self-destructing, because she was trading her lifespan for a higher cultivation foundation. Nana told him this because she had done everything she could to help Setsu, but her condition was incurable. Just like Shizuru's mother, nothing worked on the young lady. That's why she wanted our hero to help save the girl. Aunt Nana was the president of the Traditional Medicine Association and trusted Haruto more than the doctors. Although it was true he could concoct talismans besides pills, he realized the legendary cultivator business they were talking about was him. Our hero compared it to the Rui continent, where cultivation methods were rudimentary. Besides, Nana was also interested in the pill he was carrying and wanted to do business with him on behalf of the Hoshizu clan. With his aunt in control, the profits from the pill had increased tenfold. According to Shuga, His aunt made the request to help Satsu formally because she was a kind, delicate girl who deserved to be saved. When the marriage was cancelled, she rebelled once, and that information surprised our hero. Sumo walked out of the mansion and met Aunt Nana. After paying his respects before leaving, he noticed Yamori and Chizuru with her. He thanked our hero and extended his hand for a handshake. He said he would be happy if their paths crossed again. Haruto said he felt the same way, and they would meet again soon. The moment our hero took Sumajo's hand, he felt something strange. He felt a lot of spiritual energy radiating from him, different from before. Then, Joe got into the limousine, and his bodyguard said there was a gift from Lady Satsu. When he opened Satsu's gift, he received an origami butterfly, and wondered what it meant. He didn't care and told the fake Suma to hold it for him and not to open it without permission. He noticed Haruto was still the same piece of trash as before. He put on his ring, and lightning started shooting from it. Then, he told everyone close to our hero to wait, because they would die by his hand. Meanwhile, the imposter held the box with the origami butterfly, which glowed green. Then, we see that our hero had heard all of this. We switch to another place, where Nana is analyzing some flowers, until suddenly someone appears and catches her attention, and she quickly turns around. A man radiating spiritual energy said he expected that from the one called the genius of the 100 Herbs sect. Even with serious injuries and a destroyed cultivation, her ability to sense spiritual energy was as sharp as ever. Nana asked who this cultivator monk was who appeared so suddenly. If he was just an enemy, she intended to escape, and not fight. The monk knew she was the leader of the Hoshizu clan and was sure she had no intention of running. As the saying goes, a lion uses its full strength even when hunting a rabbit. Even if her abilities were diminished, the two of them would face each other with everything they had. Nana noticed he was being cautious, and asked what his objective was there. The monk wanted her to go with them, and not to try anything foolish. Another monk appeared, and thought it would be easier to break her arms and legs. Nana touched one of the trees that radiated a strange energy. She said she would make sure to treat them properly. The thin monk covered his nose and mouth and tried to figure out what the purple dust in the air was. The fat monk covered his mouth and noticed it was poison. As long as she kept the blue heart grass in her mouth, the poison's effect wouldn't affect her. This poison would give her some time to think about what to do, and she would try to escape while she still could. But a dark figure with red eyes rushed at her and captured her. That meant the man in the suit who appeared was from the secret shadow sect. The man said it was true he belonged to the hidden shadow sect, and he had destroyed the 100 Herbs sect that day. Nana said the day hadn't come yet, and there was no way they would reveal themselves now. When she looked at his face, she was shocked by what she saw. Joe with Yamori's face, saying he would finish off the leader of the Hoshizu clan. Meanwhile, the guards used the shift change to eat and rest. They started arguing about what they would eat and what Master Joe would want to eat. Leaving the room, he used the cloud shadow footwork. He entered Joe's room with the blue butterfly in his hand. He released the blue butterfly to detect the target's presence. He noticed the man was not in the place. Meanwhile, the fake Joe was in a room eating instant noodles and watching a show. He was furious that he had to endure this terrible treatment just because he looked like Suma Joe. He remembered the threats he received from the real Joe in case anyone found out about their scam, saying he was just a fake that he kept and would never become a real person. Annoyed, he decided not to follow the order not to open the box he was given. So, he opened it, and the blue origami butterfly started flying around the room. The imposter didn't understand what it was, and behind him, our hero appeared. He asked if he recognized him, and now understood why he didn't feel any spiritual energy. As he got closer, he said he was a fake and asked where the real Joe was. Elsewhere, we see a group of minions waiting for our hero to appear, and he is walking, thinking about how there is a spiritual artifact in this world. That meant a very powerful guy was backing these families because in a world with weak energy, forging such an artifact should have been impossible. But if the Suma clan had a source of spiritual energy, the story would change. As soon as he solved this problem, he would find Ryuja's source as soon as possible and level up. The goons cornered him and said he had made them wait too long. They said someone had paid them a lot of money to see him taken down, and they wanted to play with him a little first. But when our hero stared at them, these guys trembled. Their leader told the others to rush in, and they all started running toward Haruto, weapons in hand. The gang leader thought there was no way they could lose. After all, he had brought the best and most skilled people for this job. In a flash, they were all sent flying by our hero's blow, leaving their boss stunned by his immense power. Our hero threw a punch with an aura in his hand, and sent another enemy flying in pain. The leader thought this was impossible, and wondered if he was even human. Our hero asked who ordered them to attack him. Meanwhile, at Nana Hashiyu's house, the girl Setsu was investigating the crime scene with her guards. One of them showed the camera footage from the rooftop around 1 when 2 months appeared to attack her. The recording ended there as they broke into the house through the roof, and they believed Nana had been kidnapped. There were 3 criminals, and one of them had a perfect image of the man's face. They said he was at the party that day, and it was Yamari Haruto, and Setsu couldn't believe it. She took her car and the phone with the video of him appearing and went to a house. Someone had given her the address, and she had arrived at the place. Standing in front of the house, furious with Yamari, she would not let him get away with pursuing her relative. A man with a broken arm asked if she had business with Haruto. Angry that these people had kidnapped her aunt, she told her subordinate to take her to him. Her subordinate said he was in the mansion right now, and showed her the way. She saw many subordinates all injured and wondered if they were ordinary people. She noticed another bruised butler giving our hero water, until he noticed her presence, and she came in furiously shouting at our hero, accusing him and demanding his minions release her aunt, and if he did, she would let this matter go. Our hero had no idea what she was talking about regarding minions, and her aunt. Curious, she pointed at him, accusing him of kidnapping her aunt. Haruto didn't know Nana had been kidnapped and didn't understand why Setsu suspected him. She told him not to play dumb. After all, she had proof, and he didn't expect that, but he had been recorded by the house's camera. He knew the man in the video had used a spiritual artifact and transformed his face to kidnap Aunt Nana. Setsu powered up her body and told him to return her aunt now or she would use her cultivator powers against him. Our hero said he wasn't there and asked his new subordinates to confirm it. When she asked for the subordinates' version, they said they had been by his side all night. Then, she asked how his face appeared so clearly in the footage if he had been there all night. Our hero showed a video from another location, with Sumajo's face sitting there sadly, but it was an imposter. In the video, Yashiro Yosa explained he was Sumajo's stunt double and normally his guard, but at that party, he had become the stunt double. He admitted he used a ring to wear someone else's face and only appeared in limited places. Setsu was shocked that he had the power to change faces. Our hero explained he had a spiritual artifact with that transformation function. She was amazed that Suma had a spiritual artifact, an item passed down from generation to generation in noble families. Joe had tried to anger her by kidnapping Nana with his face, and in that way he could easily blame him, and then eliminate him to get Setsu. She intended to hunt down Suma and frame him, but our hero warned that her aunt would be in danger if she did that. Annoyed, she asked him what she was supposed to do. Just stand by and do nothing. Our hero knew a way to use his plan against Joe himself, and he would make him dig his own grave. Meanwhile, we see Lord Suma using his ability to suck the life force out of people. He thought these commoners were boring to absorb, and continued to get stronger. The fat monk said normal humans weren't ready for the side effects of his training. If he absorbed the members of the 100 Herbs sect, he would be able to fully master the dark arts. If he reached level 1 of cultivation, he would get a position with the elder of the Emma clan. If that happened, he would introduce the monk to his master in the Zen sect. The monk thanked him as it would be an honor, and the thin monk said Kosaka had captured Yamari last night, and they asked what to do with him. Suma said to make sure he was taken to Kogen Temple and they shouldn't kill him yet. After he cut his own tongue, he would let Yuki finish him off. At Kogen Temple, a man told the minions to be quiet, because they had orders to watch over the artifacts there. A guard said they were tired of hiding behind the authorities like cowards. Then, Master Joe appeared and everyone pretended they weren't talking about him and greeted him. Thinking he came to inspect, they asked him to look at everything carefully. He told Harga to make everyone discard their communicators when they left the temple. After receiving the order, Hera was shocked. After all, Lord Joe had called him by name, and that had never happened. The guards at the temple drove a truck up and said to take Yamari to Suma, and a masked person told him not to do anything stupid. When Haruto arrived at the temple, the white-haired man was happy they were meeting again. Our hero asked what exactly he was planning. In response, he said he didn't expect this day to come, because there had been trust at the private party. With a twisted face, he called Yamari a worthless bug for daring to talk to Yuki in front of him, saying his biggest mistake was working for Hashimoto, and he should have taken Haruto down himself. Hashimoto worked for him, and Yamari wanted to understand why he went to such lengths for him. Suma's reason was obvious. Izuki's ex-fiancée, and that tormented the man. After all, she was perfect and was born to belong to him, and no one else. Our hero was shocked that this was the reason he was being hunted. Joe said killing him now would be a waste, and a bug like him wouldn't understand that because he would never experience a divine act. Seeing the spiritual aura around him, our hero thought he was trying to summon a powerful ability. Nana Hoshizu's life force was truly powerful, even if she and her techniques were useless when she was alive. If you absorbed her shadow, you would become a cultivator, and then you could be called a god. Our hero asked if it would be better for the Lord to eliminate him now. Joe thought Yuki wanted to eliminate him more than anything right now, and he had deliberately left the recording of Nana's kidnapping, which meant the one who kidnapped and took her down was him. And he said that while transforming his face into Haruto's. Our hero understood Joe's plan, that he was using his face, and made it clear. Suma didn't understand until the masked and hatted guard removed their disguise, revealing it was Yuki, saying she had heard everything clearly and now knew the truth about her aunt's kidnapping, which shocked him. After all, the blue-haired girl shouldn't have been there hearing everything. He pretended her aunt was fine and alive, and everything he said was just a joke to scare her. Yuki didn't care about his excuses and demanded they bring her aunt back as she released her spiritual aura, or he and the Ama clan would pay dearly for what they had done. He said Yamari had taken advantage of him, and our hero replied that he had confessed everything himself, which meant he was a complete idiot, and Joe was stunned that his plan had been exposed. Yuki had spoken with the Hosokawa family and said he could step back because this was not a situation for ordinary people like him. Suma warned that he was also a cultivator and ordered his mom to attack him because he was confident in front of Yuki. The girl stepped in front of Haruto and said she would not allow them to attack him, putting herself in front of him. The two monks started channeling energy, and Suma told Yuki to listen carefully to what he was about to say, saying if she got between them, he would make a call and end her aunt's life because she was in his hands. He told her to choose between Yamari's life or her aunt's. Haruto told Setsu not to worry. After all, her aunt Nana had been rescued and was safe. Tsuno was shocked. He had gotten past all the guards and rescued the woman, which should have been impossible. Watching the footage of her being rescued, he couldn't believe this was happening. 15 minutes ago at Gogin Temple on the mountain trail, we see everything that happened. When all the guards were gathered with Nana, Joe's order was that they not move until he called. Then, he looked around to see if anyone was watching, and saw a message from his guard, who had betrayed him, telling Yamori everything. Haruto and Yuki wondered if Haruto had predicted all of this would happen. After all, he had rescued her aunt so quickly. They wondered if he was really the Yamori they knew. Suma and Joe ordered the monks to take down Haruto, and they rushed the boy. In response, Yuki also rushed them, but the monks activated a spell. Higmana arms grabbed her arms and legs, preventing her from moving. While she was trapped, unable to react, Joe told her to watch Yamari's pathetic death. The girl was scared as the monks went after the boy, telling Yuki she couldn't protect anyone. She started blaming herself for underestimating Imajo and for not being there. Just then, our hero dodged the monk's combined punch, who rushed at him with everything. He kicked one in the face and slammed the other to the ground with all his strength. Yuki saw Haruto Yamari's true power and was amazed. The thrown monk spun in place, got up, and wasted the substitute talisman he had been given. Suddenly, our hero appeared behind him like a monster, swinging another punch. Seeing how fast he moved, Suma thought no human should be like that. Then, he realized Yamari was a cultivator and saw his spiritual aura pouring out strongly. At that moment, Yuki was sure he was truly a cultivator. Our hero had wanted to meet him for a while. After all, he had used his people to capture and attack him. He had plotted to kill him using Hashimoto Ikimasa and had also kidnapped his friends and attacked his pet. He remembered someone saying that having him buzzing around like a fly was really annoying. That's why our hero wanted to finish this man as quickly as possible. Since our hero was a cultivator, he would use something he hadn't planned on, because the price was very high. And then, a giant creature made of spiritual energy began to form around him. The two monks fell, swallowed by that strange purple energy. Our hero knew an inherited technique had caused the people in this world to develop methods like what Joe was using. Those useless monks were part of that, and Joe wanted to become stronger. He would absorb cultivators to make his shadow technique stronger. Absorbing one person was enough to refine it. Absorbing two would take him to another level. After absorbing the monks, who were last seen on the ground drained of their life force, he raised his cultivation realm. Our hero was shocked that he had absorbed the cultivation of two people at once and became stronger. The monster around him opened one eye and continued to grow, radiating more energy. And Suma said Yamari would be the next to be absorbed. Setsu had underestimated Lord Joe and never imagined he had this kind of overwhelming power. She felt like it was her fault for bringing our hero to this place to suffer. She screamed for Suma to leave Yamari out of this. After all, his problem was with her. Annoyed, he was angry that she was protecting that piece of trash until now. He started releasing more spiritual power, and the monster behind him grew larger and radiated more. He rushed at Haruto, wanting to send him to hell. He was furious with him. As he swung an attack with the giant energy monster's claws, the girl screamed for the boy to run and get away. When it seemed the claws had hit our hero, we see he had dodged it perfectly. He stopped next to Setsu and released more spiritual energy, creating a protective layer for both of them. With pink spiritual energy around his hands, the enemy was angry that he had dodged his blow. Our hero activated the first stage of cultivation, and a blue aura appeared around him, trying to suppress the villain's aura. He said his technique was nothing impressive. Setsu noticed he was stronger than Lord Emma, and the pressure in the air weighed on her. Because of his energy, our hero rushed at his target and kicked him in the chest, infusing energy, making the blow stronger. Injured and angry, he had his spiritual energy monster attack him. The creature formed from his spiritual energy rushed at Haruto with everything. It had become huge and overwhelming. The villain screamed as he attacked, trying to erase him once and for all. A stream of pink energy rushed toward our hero, and he reacted by creating a shield with his spiritual energy. Joe saw him using the second stage to defend himself and called him a failure who would be absorbed by his shadow technique. Our hero held out his hands to block the blow from his crazed enemy. After overcoming the attack, he rushed at him with a punch and said the shadow technique was useless against absolute power. Our hero slammed the ground with a massive energy-wrapped punch, and the ground began to crack. He said he had caught Lord Suma and pulled a one-eyed pink energy creature out of the ground. He knew the shadow technique used parasites that fed on the host's energy, and he had caught the parasite. He crushed it in his hands, and by doing so, weakened the villain, who lost his shadow technique and felt the pain. Furious on the ground, the villain couldn't stop wondering how he had taken down Minoble. He screamed at him not to think he had defeated a descendant of the Emiya family and that his grandfather was still alive. If Haruto took down Joe, the Hidden Shadow sect would send assassins to kill him. Our hero noticed there were cultivation sects in this world, including the Hidden Shadow sect. In a frenzy, the villain asked if Yamari knew what that meant, and said he was nothing but a worthless pig. Haruto walked toward him without a word while he screamed that if he killed him, he would bring disaster to his own life. Lying on the ground, he grew more and more scared, asking why Yamari was getting so close. He swore his clan would hunt him down to assassinate him and told him not to finish what he was about to do, saying if he spared him, he would ensure his survival, and he apologized for what he had done to Haruto. He started begging for his life, and our hero said it all ended now. He landed a massive, brutal punch that smashed him into the ground and created a devastating shockwave that reached Setsu. With a fearsome look, he finished off Sumajo, who was crushed on the ground, defeated. Our hero said it was over, and he received news that Nana was fine and had returned. Setsu thanked him and said she had thought he was just an ordinary person all this time, not a cultivator. She realized that in the end, she was the one who knew nothing. Our hero said that even if she hadn't shown up, he was ready to fight the villain alone. He took a Mima spiritual artifact, which looked rather crude, and made it clear it was created by a stage 4 cultivator. The woman asked why he was kicked out of his clan if he was so strong. He could have been the head of the family. Our hero said he no longer had anything to do with that family, and said he wasn't that strong yet because he hadn't reached the 3rd stage. The girl was aiming for that cultivation stage, so she could escape the Imatani family and become a free, officially recognized cultivator. As promised, Iomori would solve the problem with her body, which was on the verge of exploding. He showed her a dispersion pill that would release the trapped and accumulated energy in her body that was destroying her. When she heard about releasing her energy, she wondered if she would lose her cultivation ability. She said her cultivation method was complex because besides not being able to progress, it shortened her lifespan. But if he did this and she took the pill, she would return to being a normal person. Haruto said no because that was part of their next deal and asked if she wanted to know what true cultivation was. After that conversation, the girl knocked on his door. Very shy, she brought the things he asked for and intended to stay at his house for a while. When he noticed her face was red and tried to find out why, she avoided explaining and went inside. Then, she asked if he was going far away again this time. Our hero said he wasn't sure this time and was standing in front of his garden with the magic flowers he had planted. As soon as things with Emma settled down, he would go to Ryuja to find the spirit spring they had told him about. The energy radiating from the silver heart grass was surprisingly gentle, and training near it would be good for Setsu's body. Just then, his pet puppy appeared, and he explained that he would teach her the correct cultivation techniques. While he was away, he wanted the girl to take care of his dog and his garden. She bonded with the dog and asked what its name was. Our hero said the animal didn't have a name, and Setsu said names are important because they give you a place in the world, and he should name the dog. Our hero called it Roku, and the dog responded with happy barks as if it liked the choice. Our hero chose that name because of someone from his past life who seemed to have trained him. Roku had taught him the fighting moves he had learned. Later, the girl took a bath and asked which room she would sleep in. Our hero told her to use the living room, which had been cleaned. She asked what was happening with the Ama family, and our hero said it had been taken care of. Ama Joe wouldn't disappear from his high-ranking relatives. On the mountain of the Ama family, we see Joe meeting with his relatives. They asked if his uncle would come out of seclusion today, and Joe was scared when he saw the doors open. As soon as the gate opened, a giant beast rushed out, and an old man said, 5 years pass in a flash for cultivators, and to think everyone has been waiting for this old relic makes me feel honored. Takuso, Joe's great-grandfather, appeared on the back of a black lion with golden eyes. They congratulated him on reaching the 3rd stage and said he was now a legendary immortal, and they pray his life would be longer and more prosperous. The elder laughed and agreed with them. Then, he told Joe to come closer. He asked what happened to the clan reject Yamori. Joe explained that he was useless and ordinary, and in the end, he couldn't deal with Haruto. His great-grandfather, the elder, was angry that he couldn't handle the boy. The elder said a person from the Ama clan couldn't say such things, and whether he was biased or not, he could still be discarded. If he couldn't carry out this mission, Joko would do it himself. Okajoko and Tairo Chikega were ordered by the elder to go to Noi City. If the two of them found out what Joko knew, that would be for the best. In the midst of all that, Setsu woke up at 5 to cultivate and complained because she didn't even wake up that early to go to the spa. Her to explain that at 5 spiritual energy was more abundant, and cultivating immortality gave you double the results. He told her to drink a liquid from a cup before she started cultivating. The girl drank it and felt a blue aura around her body and asked what just happened to her. Furuto explained it was a simplified version of the key condensing pill. The pill would be too harsh for her right now, and for her body. She needed gentle spiritual energy. This gentle mixture of turmeric and parsley along with what was inside the pill was perfect for her. On his old continent and his previous life, they used this mixture for infants. He noticed that the people in this world had very weak bodies. He told her to change clothes quickly, and then he would teach her the true method of immortal cultivation. In a park, the two of them sat meditating on rocks, and she felt embarrassed to cultivate there. Our hero explained that the closer you are to nature, the better the cultivation of spiritual energy, and the forest park was the best place. Some old people in the park tried to figure out what the two young people were doing and realized it was spiritual cultivation. They thought she must be close to the guy because they were on this journey together. Seeing the girl was restless, Garuda told her to focus and feel the spiritual energy around her. Her previous method was to forcibly retain spiritual energy, and her body was holding other violent energies. Normal people couldn't see those energies, couldn't use them, and couldn't protect their bodies from them. But she had broken that mechanism on her own. Spiritual cultivation leads to purification. Extracting the purest part and nourishing your body with it, and the purification effect is the biggest difference between her method and his. Her spiritual energy usage rate was 40. With his method, you use 100 of the energy. Guiding energy into the body requires spiritual power, and it is located in the forehead, called the lotus platform, and she had to try to empty her mind. As soon as she emptied it and felt that lotus platform, she had to guide it. Setsu closed her eyes tightly and tried to focus on emptying her mind. She tried to empty it and find where that lotus platform was in her mind full of spiritual energy. She couldn't feel her spiritual energy, because her mind was haunted by the image of her tyrannical father. The old people thought something was wrong with the girl, because she was sweating a lot. Sweating from all the effort, the girl couldn't see her spiritual energy, and our hero gently touched his finger to her forehead. Our hero helped her and told her to close her eyes and try to feel again. Borrowing his spiritual power, she tried her best to feel her spiritual energy. The girl was tense while he channeled energy into her, and the old couple thought the scene was cute. Finally, she could see inside her body with the spiritual energy flowing through it. She thought it was beautiful to see the spiritual energy right before her eyes. And our hero said it was the true complete appearance of the soul that the naked eye cannot see. Our hero disconnected and said that was enough for the first day of training. She needed to feel and guide her spiritual energy more. That way she could enter the first stage of immortal cultivation. The two returned home, and while bathing in the tub, Setsu remembered him gently touching her forehead and found it unsettling. Annoyed because her focus should be on entering the first stage of cultivation and nothing else, she struggled against her thoughts. A week later, our hero was at a place Snakehead had given him and wondered if this was really true. After a week, Ing could feel spiritual energy, and the energy pills would be enough to enter the first stage. With the power she had now, she could take care of the house without any problems. So, he set off on his journey without worry and saw a car arranged by Snakehead. Getting on the bus, the driver thought he looked like a student going to such a dangerous place. The driver said the bus was empty, and he could sit anywhere he wanted and enjoy the ride. Our hero got on the bus without a word and noticed some strange people sitting on the bus. Purdu Yemri had finally followed what the informant had told him. They landed by plane in Ninghai City, and the passengers started to disembark. People arrived at the city airport and said they had the boy's address, and they would handle him now. Seeing the front of Haruda's house, a goon wanted to have some fun, because the last time he had been out was 30 years ago. Our hero had prepared a bracelet to protect the girl while he was in Ninghai for her safety. A talisman with jade stones. If she was in danger, she should use it the way he taught her. President Sue's attention was drawn by her employee, who got annoyed because she wasn't responding and was holding the bracelet and distracted. Her secretary knew it was the man she liked who gave her the bracelet, and she knew the president cared a lot about him. She told Fang she needed her on a business trip, and the destination was a place she hated. She asked President Sue for help because she was wrong. And meanwhile, we see our hero on a bus in the middle of nowhere. He had been traveling for 6 hours, and it seemed every passenger had their own rations to get to Lucy until suddenly, there was a sharp break that made everyone jump in panic. The driver told everyone to calm down and assured their safety. Just then, a gang of robbers smashed the windows and doors and stormed the bus. They entered with knives, and a passenger said, "This territory belongs to Han," and thought they were from the Hood gang. Without mercy, the killer stabbed the passenger who said that, and ended his life, shocking everyone. He said someone on this bus shouldn't be here, and everyone could cooperate and find out who that person was. If they didn't cooperate, the result would be the same as the man on the floor who was dead. Our hero assumed they were after him and realized he had been dragged into this. One of the goons approached him and told him to stand up so they could see his face. Seeing him acting stealthy, he asked what was in his bag. Another killer said not to waste words on people who don't cooperate and said they should be eliminated immediately. On his boss's orders, he pulled a sheet from his bag and threatened the man sitting on the bus, but the person disappeared, and they felt a gust of wind inside the bus, which they found strange. Our hero appeared behind the goons and punched them brutally, and the first one flew out the window. Hura said time was really tight, and they had come for him pretty quickly. The other two rushed in with everything they had because he had dislocated their comrade's arm. Quickly, our hero punched one in the face, and he spat out a lot of blood and was seriously injured. As one fell, he was ready to land a big punch on the other's face. In an instant, Haruda took down all the attackers without any difficulty, and they were all lying down and seriously injured. When he said it was over, the girl covering her face with a mask and a hood was very surprised. Our hero dragged the goons off the bus, tied them up, and helped fix the bus they had damaged. He noticed the axle was broken and it couldn't move. There was no phone signal, and if there were wild animals around, they would be in trouble because they couldn't run. The drivers were scared, not knowing what to do and not knowing what might appear out there. Our hero could survive in the wild, but to get to Luce, it would take time, and he would have to find the informant again. The hooded woman asked him to take her to Luce. In return, he could protect her until Diaban City. Haruda said he didn't care, and she told him to think again. After all, without her, he wouldn't find Luce. Our hero knew the group was after her for what was in her briefcase. He asked what made her think she could negotiate terms with someone who was being hunted. She said she understood his point, but told him to wait a moment. She introduced herself as Wendong from Louis, and said she knew he didn't come to the city for money, but to find sources of spiritual energy, and she pulled a sample from her briefcase.